Welcome back, hunters. I'm the Survivalist, and we return to Call of the Wild, the Hunter, or the Hunter Call of the Wild. Can't remember how that order is, but either way, we're back to our hunting week, or our wilderness weekends with a hunting game to start off with. And I have gone through and went through the process of grinding out the handgun score in order to get ourselves the hard case bullet that have very high penetration. It's kind of paradoxical how the Hunter, or Call of the Wild, the Hunter can be with its ammo system in a way. Like, the first ammos you get to start out with are actually harder to hunt with than the other kinds of ammos in the game. Like, if I say take a look at okay, no, I've got a fair bit there to go through. I was trying to find, like, something that had a little bit more of a hint of, like, okay, this is the ammo you're starting with, and this is what you have. So, we'll start with the handguns, because we were operating with this. We start with the 44 jacketed hollow point, and you can see the penetration is super low. And the expansion is very high. Now, when I've been doing the series and trying to use this before, we didn't really have a lot of success taking the animals down, even with shots that kind of felt like they should be in the right range. I thought it was mostly that I was having poor placement for the shots, but it might have been more so that the penetration is actually so low on these rounds, they just cannot actually get the expansion needed for them. As to kind of put into perspective, penetration is like stabbing power, expansion is like punching power with it. So how you would kind of expect your starting ammo to work in a hunting game is that it would have high amounts of both. So that way, even if your shot was like misplaced, there was still, like, let's say you have high penetration, so that way, say you accidentally shoot an animal too far back, you don't hit the lungs. But the expansion of where that shot hits is able to maybe clip the lungs or around there to do enough damage that it would be a lethal shot. It's not a clean shot, but it still would have the power to put the animal down. That's not exactly how the game seems to have it handled with expansion. It seems more so expansion, I don't know if it's actually programmed properly, and it just does not really have the effect I would have thought it has, or what. But it feels like expansion just doesn't really do anything extra. It's all about that penetration stat. And you can see, with it being up to 70 here, when we put it into practice, it'll show off quite a difference there. And it was the same way for trying to work with the 357 here to start out handgun hunting. And you can see, low penetration amount, pretty high expansion, and then it kind of reverses on itself to be very low expansion. Now, I thought it would be, you have more damaging bullets to get better kills, but as you practice placing the shots better, that's when the penetration will come in and you'll have less expansion, so instead of having to have the huge damage power, you just have the right placement and penetration. But the game doesn't super operate in that regard. Like, I don't even think for the rifle ammo. Rifle ammo is a little bit... Yeah, rifle ammo is at least better for the 223 to start out with. I'm trying to think of what else there is. 223, how about the 243? Yeah, like... Maybe it's just the handgun ammo and, like, the amounts are really, really skewed for, like, expansion to penetration. But that is why I was having so much trouble with that. So today, when we take out the, what are you called again? The Moradi Model 1894, we'll probably be able to show much better off what it's able to do today. But we're actually going to be changing our location again, because I apparently mistook something here. I thought it was all we had to do was find the 3 samples of the droppings. It has to be the 3 samples found in the Balmont region. So I'm going to fast travel us back around here, take some, get a little bit of sleep in, because I don't really like night hunting in the game. The big difference is, unless you have your flashlight shining on where tracks and signs are, you won't see them at all on the screen. That, and YouTube is pretty bad with dark video compression and such, so yeah, we're just going to bypass all that, get it to morning, and then try to embark on getting the progress done a little bit further on this. So, kick that open. I'm surprised how instantaneous that is. Let's go till maybe, we'll start 6:20. Just get a little bit of rest in, change that up, and then embark and see how we do. But yeah, now that we have the much better penetration ammo for this Moradi... Moradi? I know I'm checking back in your apology. Yeah, Moradi. With the ammo that is more meant for penetration, we're going to see a very different story with it. It's kind of one of those things in hunting games that does feel a little bizarre. You probably have the most difficulty playing it starting out, rather than, like, if you've gotten some experience and stuff opened up. You would kind of imagine, you would think, okay, you are developing your skills, so you would be trying, or the game would be trying to motion you more so to pulling off more skillful, daunting, challenging stuff, where it can kind of be the opposite. Again, with the perk and skill system that come through the level ups here in this game, you get better at being hidden and such, which, I mean, granted, yeah, it's kind of hard to put in perspective in some regards, just talking about it too. Because, like, there is the point of, okay, you have better experience, so you're more able to pull stuff off and learn and grow there. But maybe when it comes to the equipment-wise, like the ammo and shots like that, it might just be, again, that handgun was just how those stats are in comparison to each other. They are really hard to work with. Because the way that I basically worked at grinding the handgun score up was, I took the 357, that's the first handgun you can start with, and I went to the Yukon Valley, I think the DLC map is called. It's the one where it's like set up towards, well, the Yukon area, so you have the packs of wolves about. And what I did was I took the higher penetration one of the 357, and I basically used that to go up against wolf packs and take them down. And it did take a little while getting everything to work and in place there, but it did give me the payoff I was trying to get. Now, the reason we're back around here is because we did have a couple of black bears we ran into. I think it was the first weekend coming back to Call of the Wild. So I'm hoping maybe I can find some more signs and droppings and just get this mission wrapped up and get us to something else with another bit of a goal. I think one of the reasons why I kind of faded off of the missions in hunting games, a little bit of it was from the Hunter Classic, where it was you didn't really gain anything for doing them. Well, there's some kind of need zone here, but I don't think I remember. Yeah, no, I don't have anything marked here for a need zone. That's a bit odd. Hunter Classic, when they first came out, you didn't really super get anything for missions because they didn't have like a currency system in place for just like generally playing the game. And then when it came to Call of the Wild, I think some of the missions were a little more specific in what they wanted you to do, so it felt like more of a hassle trying to get stuff done. Because you would have things where it's like, get a animal of this rating with this weapon at this distance or greater. Or it felt like there were a lot of really specific things in place that just kind of took away from an idea more of being able to freely hunt and get your experience in that way. I think it's thanks to Way of the Hunter with having it a little more free and open, where it's like, just take one animal of like this really weak or easy to get and whatever, and it'll progress things along. I think that's a good route to take, is give yourselves a more generalistic goal that you go for, and as you get those done and met, your skills will slowly improve, train, hone, and in that way you're going more on trophies and after trophies all on your own without having missions or such to guide you or having requirements to try meeting for them. Yeah, that's whitetail tracks. Oh, right, again, I forgot. I gotta try to mind what speed I'm at once I am standing and resting. Well, I shouldn't say resting, but crouched or prone. That's all, I think, whitetail stuff here, or is that? No, that's whitetail droppings. Yeah, I'm hoping just come across some more bear droppings, we get this mission progressed, then at least we have, like, a tangible goal to meet, as well as just trying to generally hunt and see what we come across. Oh, could this be bear droppings? No, probably coyote? Yeah, coyote. A little too small for bear. They are carnivore droppings, but not quite what we're after. But now that I do have the Moradi with the high penetration ammo, it's going to probably be a very versatile firearm to use in harness. Because it has like one of the highest ranges I think I've seen in game for like what you can go after with it. The only things that you can't really go after are the very largest of animals, and anything, I guess, like rabbit and bird? I'm trying to remember what all qualifies as like a class 2 animal. It's possible coyotes and foxes will count as that, as like class 2s. But everything else is fair game that it can be used on. It's one of the reasons why I decided, you know what, let's try to get that up. And as much as it is like a DLC and you had to pay for that, at least it feels like it is a little bit more worth the funds because you're opening up a lot more options to use it then. It's like a really specific thing. I also am still using the takedown bow with the sight on it. I'm going to keep putting that into practice, see how we do. And truth be told, I'm kind of wondering if maybe I come out a bit too early. It's like looking around. I was hoping I would have, well, probably not heard any bears, but at least like seen some signs of activity. Again, I might be out and about so early that they're not really active, or if they are active, they're not in the area. Because once you do find need zones, then you can be more specific in honing down your times of focus and such. I was going after the wolf packs where that paid off a lot in trying to find the need zone, then going out around the time that they were probably going to be in the area. I think that's another one of the big things I need to... Way of the Hunter, I probably would have been able to play better if I was able to actually break my bad habits on that. But maybe Call of the Wild will be a little further enforcement to drill it into the brain to work with the need zones and timings much more properly. Because as much as you can roam and free hunt here, if you have specific things you're after, it's far better to work off their need zones and hunt with those times. Maybe we'll try working down this way. I know the wind is blowing mostly southeast, so it's not like it's going to be going too far off there, but if we keep going like this western direction, I think we should be fine. And, yeah, with how this area is too, I might want to try actually getting... I don't know if I should go up onto the rail bridge or stay low and go kind of towards the coast. And we'll just keep going and see what other tracks and signs we come across. I'm also going to try not to put too much pressure into trying to get some stuff done. I think with how we were having issues when it came to the Moradi with the other ammo type, I was feeling a little disgruntled with it. Because that 50-meter effective range, you kind of expect that it would be fully effective up to that distance. But it didn't seem like it was really paying off as that for us. There were a lot of things we would take the shots at, and yet it would come back as non-vital hit, and not even a non-vital organ hit. But with the higher penetration, again, I'm hoping to be able to show off to you guys that it does perform, or should perform, a fair bit better. I actually didn't really test to see how it performs, only that I got the ammo type open up and I figured, okay, there we go. Got something we can try testing out next weekend. I don't know how long I'll stay on Leighton Lake and go through some of the other maps and such I've got. I know when I tackled the series before, I don't think I really spent too long on each of the DLC maps. Like, there's probably all kinds of story missions and stuff to work through and advance at. Which at least, that does give it some structuring to weekends I can try pulling stuff off with. We just... Oh, right over there. And then, when it came to the e-collar, that's something I can actually talk about in a little bit too, while we're trying to hone in on something to take on. When it came to trying to use the e-collar, it seemed like there was something a little strange where, if I was so... Actually, what are the zeroings on? Okay, so the gun can zero all the way up to 150 meters. So that'll be interesting to put this to the test, but when I was trying to use the e-collar, it almost seemed like if I wasn't a certain distance away, the animals were kind of picking... Oh, well, there's another call. There's actually a lot of noise being made right now. I can't really tell. I think it's from two different directions. I think there's the one from over here. I think that call I was hearing came from somewhere over this way. But anyway, back to the topic, that e-collar. unless you seem to be a certain distance away from the caller, it's almost like the game the animals are registering the calls are coming from your position still. So like when I had the moose I was trying to bring in, and they didn't really seem to be coming closer to the caller, that was a little sign of it, as well as when I was in Yukon Valley. I think even try and call some of the elk in, we've noticed that they've like come more so to our position than the caller. I also don't think the electronic caller actually benefits from your skills or your perks, like... where is it? Like your Fatal Attraction here. I don't think that applies with it. I think it only applies to, like, the bot handheld callers. I may be mistaken, I didn't actually really thoroughly check that up. It's just something I kind of noticed is... I'd put the e-caller down, wouldn't seem to get any interest from something, then I try with the actual handheld caller, and that seemed to work. So it's one of those ones where it might have a diminishing return if, again, you're picking that up after you've gotten all the other callers and such. It might just be more so a way if you're trying to save up inventory weight if possible. Okay, so she should be... Yeah, there she is. Just going to wait a moment. Yeah, I also have the best scope I can have on this right now. Just going... Ooh. I'll try to keep watch of her until she gives me a good opening. As truth be told, I could probably aim right for the double lung. Yeah, maybe just for the sake of making sure I should go for double lung first. Because as we've seen with the past couple of weekends, I haven't had that much luck in getting those. Yeah, she's gone. You can see that's dropping. It's not dropping super quick, but she should probably... Oh. Pathfinding is really terrible right there. But yeah, as you can see, from that distance out with the shot, it was enough to put her down with the one. Now if we go checking, it's probably going to be... I want to say it's going to be a double lung, but because of the distance out, it might not have had penetration for that. I'm just going to walk up, claim, or harvest her, and take a look at the screen and see what it does tell me on her. Because it did seem like she was still running around for a fair bit after that initial shot. So it might have been single. Oh, no, it did count as double. My eyes can see. It went right through. I think it might have even kept going through. Well, we'll just take that. I think that's a better sign of showing that, like, even from a further distance out than I was shooting last weekend, that penetration value is the big thing to get for whatever ammo you're using. Again, I don't know if it's that the expansion stat doesn't work as well as it's supposed to, or it's that it needs to be cranked up on some other shot types. It just feels a little paradoxical that here's a shot type that's weaker than another one that's supposed to do more damage, but actually doesn't. Like, I would say make it so that way your initial shots... Yes, they are more damaging to the carcass, so maybe you're losing, like, some of the value you would get on harvest for, like, the cash reward. But there's a better chance of if you do have a more badly placed shot, it's more likely to still be a lethal hit. Just because of the volume of damage rather than the precision of the hit. I'm not sure if there might be some people saying otherwise or what, but I feel like gameplay perspective-wise, that might be a way to help improve things a little bit on that regard. I don't think it's super needed too much because, again, when it comes to like the other shot types and their penetration and expansion stats, they feel like a little more tuned with each other. So I can't say for sure. But it is nice to say one shot, one kill. And we'll see if we can find, again, some... Just get a little bit more sample bear droppings and go further from that. And we might be in luck. Okay, so we got whitetail. I see some droppings up here, but I can't tell if they are deer or carnivore. No, they're herbivore. Yeah, anything pellet-wise is generally herbivorous. Anything that's a log is generally carnivore. Just seems to be kind of one of the traits you can get a bit of an idea of how they operate with enough time. Okay, let's head down, see if we can find anything around the water. I'm not sure if it's every time you do load into a game or a map, if like all the need zones and such kind of change for the species. Because if all the animals like sort of reset or have these respawns that they do, I don't think it's like Way of the Hunter where they're kind of more static on the maps. These occur always at these spots. Maybe it cycles through or there's a few different possibilities that the animal species have in the Call of the Wild. I'm not 100% sure, and I guess maybe with more time we'll find out with this series. But speaking of Way of the Hunter, it is sad to say, but I do have to say it. It feels like they've dropped the ball, and it's just... I don't know if I will be going back to cover the last DLC that seems to be releasing this year for it. Like, the next map does not have hardly any new species really on it. It seems to be a lot of variations or even just reuses of species we've already had to go after. I don't know if there's really anything new weapon-wise or such. Like, it kind of feels a little bit how Call of the Wild has gone for its direction, where it's like, instead of trying to improve the base experience, it's just pump out any new content they can charge you for. At least Call of the Wild has been learning a little bit and trying to put in more exotic species and different reserves and a few things to help try to offset that feeling a little bit more recently. It also has, in Call of the Wild, you have a fair variety of ways you can hunt. And, like, you can build in different directions, so it feels like there's a little bit more you can do than, like, just one focused way of hunting. Whereas Way of the Hunter, because you don't have archery perks or skills, and you don't have different shotgun Actually, now I think about it, the shotguns are only used for birds, because there's no other ammo types for them yet. And I don't think there's even handguns, so it really is just rifle hunting. And one of the quirks about the rifle hunting, too, that we went into was it only has a perk or skill tree for either bolt-action rifles, or no, was it bolt? Yeah, it might have been bolt-action and lever-action. But there's only a single lever-action rifle in the entire game, unless there's a DLC one that helps change that up, but I don't know if that's the case or not. So you have an entire skill and perk tree for a single rifle. But then you've added things like the crossbows, the compound bows, and those have no supporting skills or leveling system at all to them yet. Again, it just feels like it's weirdly handled. I was pretty eager for Way of the Hunter when it first released, and I think it did start off on a really good foot. However, it's just kind of crumbled away at that starting foundation pretty badly. So in some ways, it is a little bit more of a breath of fresh air to come back to Call of the Wild, where it's like, oh, okay, I can go with the bow and arrow, and I don't feel like there's this automatic detection range the animals have. I have this feedback of knowing how much noise I'm making. Does foliage actually make more noise if I go through it, or if I hide in it? As it stands, I think base Call of the Wild is a little bit thin for what it offers for, like, the base game. Because, truth be told, I'm not sure... I don't know everything included in base The Hunter Call of the Wild anymore. It's been out for so many years, and I think they've had, like, different yearly editions that I don't know, like, if you just try to buy the game on Steam, if it is just only, like, Leighton Lake and Hirschfelden you hunt on, or if there's been other DLCs that are, like, thrown in now to a base edition for it. But even then, with Leighton Lake and Hirschfelden, with all the other supporting stuff around it and that, I'd probably have to lean you're better off trying Call of the Wild than you would be going for Way of the Hunter. I guess you could kind of also include graphic-wise that you're going to be able to run Call of the Wild on more spec hardware than you do need for Way of the Hunter. Normally, for me, graphics aren't a super make or break of a game, but I could see that that's something where other people might want more as best as it can possibly look or such. I'm kind of surprised how little tracks and traces we've found for all we've been going across. I guess we'll just kind of keep following along the trail here. Maybe we'll get a little bit better luck and find something. Again, even if it's just a warning call I hear out, or if I do try using binoculars to spot anything from afar. Like, we got some tracks and such down here, but okay, there's some droppings, but I'm thinking these might even be more of those whitetail tracks and signs that we came across up top. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. But they're registered as very old, so I don't really think it's going to be worth it trying to follow along there. It can be sometimes in hunting games, too, where you just have an off day. There's no guarantee you have animals spawning in high number around you, so can't really say you're always guaranteed to find massive herds or big groups everywhere you go. Sometimes you just gotta wander in the woods and see what you come across. And that's kind of where it was a little harder to do this series beforehand, where I had to mind the video lengths a bit more. Because it could come to the aspect of, oh, I really wish I could show something off this episode, but there's not all that much I've done besides blab and ramble on. Well, at least now, with having more experience than that under the belt, I kind of have a little bit more of a relaxed way of viewing it and saying, whatever happens does, and if nothing does happen, well, at least there's a way of being honest and showing that maybe you have a bad day trying the game too. And it's like, I wonder if anybody else has struggles like this, and yeah, you do. Or other times, maybe you're just a much better player than I am, and it's like, God, you are really terrible at this, aren't you? Which the answer is, yeah, most of the time, I really am. Like, one thing I could probably try doing a little more often is actually using the callers. Because if I go into skills, we do have level 2 that gives increased chance of a response back when we use a caller. So as much as I can just walk trying to hear and listen for any calls, I could always try just doing a call out myself and see if anything replies. And I think that's actually worked for the elk caller a fair bit. No. Not what I was expecting to hear, but you know what? Yeah, my only problem is I have no idea where exactly that coyote warning call... I think it's coyote. Could have been a red fox, but... that was a warning call that went off, but I don't know if it did fully flee or we might be able to pull it in. Actually, one thing I should do is... I think I need the 1 to... okay, that's 1 to 2. Okay. Oh, that's actually... I'm surprised this is actually 2 to 7. Because that's interesting there. Okay, I guess there's a little bit of an overlap there. But yeah, with this ammo being the 3 to 8, it's probably too large for trying something else. I'm just going to try one more call. And do another little scan with our binoculars, and then probably keep on our way. Because unless you have a visual on the fox or coyote coming in, you don't really know how close or if they're even interested in your call at all. So it can be a case of I might have accidentally scared it and it fled completely, so there's Not really anything we'll bring in here, or it could be interested and it's just we're not sure where it's coming in from. I also shouldn't get too tunnel vision into just looking where I heard the call come from either, because that's also been something that's bitten me in the butt a few times. Is I hear a call... Oh. Oh. Okay, that should be it down, because that I felt like was a pretty good placed, lung shot. We're just going to give it a moment. Yeah, that was. One of the ways you can tell if it's a really good shot is by how much blood there is left at the shot site. If it's just like a little bit of dark blood, you probably are better off just letting the animal go off on its own. We've seen that when I was trying to use the Moradi before. I still am doubting myself. It is Moradi, right? Yeah. Moradi Model 1894. But a nice big pool like that, my thinking is it's probably a lung shot. If you were to get a heart shot, usually the animal, I think, drops instantly or in just a few moments. But we'll follow up and see where he's gotten off to. I don't think he'll get too far. We did make him kind of crap himself from that, but... Oh, actually kind of surprised it says a low bleed rate. I thought it would have been a little bit higher with it being like a vital hit. But I guess maybe with this being a Class 2 animal, and since we were using what's basically a bird arrow. And I'll show you why I'm calling it a bird arrow in a moment. It's not just because it's a Class 1, but there's actually... I'll bring out the bow right now and you can see. You see how there's like the extra little lines coming off of the arrowhead there? Those are kind of... I believe it's a way to kind of like catch the feathering and not go too far into a bird like a regular arrowhead would. Like if I go into the ammo here, you can see like this is a pointed spear tip, whereas the 300 grain is more of like a kind of a pointed center, but then it has like those little edges or spokes poking out of it. I think it's so that way it doesn't damage things too much and like is clean right through and takes out too much of the animal or flesh or such. Well, let's take a look. Ooh, I aimed a bit high on it, so that was my mistake. But it is a nice gold coyote. See, I should have been aiming much lower on that. But we were still at least able to get... Hang on, trophy organ skull? Oh, okay, that's what it means. Trophy organ is like, what part of the animal do you want to avoid hitting, because that's considered like and measures the trophy. In this case, it's the skull. Whereas for a deer or such, it might list skull too? I'm trying to think of what other animal might be, like, the trophy organ would be something different. But there's at least a decent harvest right there. And we'll keep going, because, yeah, we have a long way to go before we're out of the Valmont region. But again, sometimes it's just, you gotta take a walk in the woods and see what you come across. Now, you know what? I'm going to try with the e-collar, I think. Going to see... Okay, you know what? I'll move a little bit faster just to plunk it down and get it ready and set up. And we'll go for moose. We'll put that there. And see, I'm going to try moving over here. And just see what direction it comes in from. It's like, I think it should pull the moose in. It is just a female mating call going out, so it shouldn't be anything where it's, like, really stubborn in a reply or response. But that says it's about... maybe we'll try aiming for, like, say, 20 meters out or something. So it is a fair distance, well, maybe not that grand of a distance away from us, but it should be that they'd be attracted over there, not to us here. So I'm just going to wait, let it do its thing for a while, and see what comes in. Like, truth be told, last weekend where we were using this and we had the little herd that came in, I probably could have taken either one of the males. Okay, so I think she's just down over there still. I could have taken either one of the bulls if I had the high penetration ammo I do now. But I guess maybe expansion also... That could be an aspect of it too, is expansion also needs to work along the full path of penetration. So if it's not a very long path of penetration for a hit, it means the expansion is not really going to do all that much too. So, oh yeah, there she is. Oh no, okay, looks like she might be going more towards the caller than us here. Yeah, it looks like she's on her own. I don't have anything else I seem to have in the area that's like saying we can spot it. Okay. Oh, there was a black bear over there. Yes, you know what? Let me... Okay, let's activate this again. We'll shut that off. I don't know if it does anything if I shut it off before I pick it up again or not. Oh, that... I guess that was a heart shot. I wasn't sure because I thought the zeroing might have been pretty off. So that's one thing is with the zero skill active that I picked up, I've got to double check and make sure I've got that as close as I can for the distance the animal's out at. Very high, so that does make me think heart shot. Let's see. Yeah, that was actually right through everything. And the distance was, yeah, under 50 meters. So, I'm kind of surprised that it did hit as well as it did. But I've got to be very careful when it does come to the zeroing setting and such. But let me head back down this way. We heard the bear fleeing from somewhere around here, so if I can figure out its trail, it shouldn't be too hard finding some droppings along there and just being able to knock this mission out. Then we might have a more proper harvest or hunt mission to do. And when it does come... Well, sounds like we got some turkeys. Okay, that's just a mating call. I'll ignore that because we do have some bigger game to go after right now. Well, even if it's not like actually finding that exact bear, at least we can hopefully find some tracks and evidence of it. But even if the females don't really reward you with the best cash harvests or cash rewards for taking them down, again, when you're first starting out and just learning to place the shots and go after anything, it's not a bad idea to go after them just because of how easy they are. They also do help you for getting those gear scores up. Of like the rifle, the shot, well, probably not shotgun because it looks like you have to get that up a fair ways before you do unlock the slug ammunition. But you can probably use like buckshot just starting out. And I should actually double check that in the shop, just to make sure I'm not misleading you guys. So I mean, I'd be misleading myself too, and I mean that's already kind of a dumb thing to do. Ooh. Okay, yeah, she's up ahead somewhere there. Might as well get this tuned to 50 meters. Now, I don't think she knows we're here by scent. I think it was just she heard us coming down. And because of the way the wind's going, I don't actually think I want to try calling her closer. I think I just want to kind of inch our way to a spot where we might be able to see where she is and try taking our shot. We got some tracks there, which... Okay, you know what? I think this... I'm going to see if I can actually try pulling her a bit towards us. Like, now that I moved down here a little way, I don't think I have to worry about the scent being picked up. So I'm just going to try to watch and see if I can spot her coming in somewhere. I'm trying to remember. What was the key? There we go. Middle mouse click. That's actually a really handy thing to learn, is that your middle mouse click will actually take off the optics you're using. It's like if you do have it so that way you have a little too powerful of a scope on, you can just do that and you don't have to worry about it. I kind of learned that just by accident. Can't remember what I was doing. Well, this is going to be a good way to kind of show how you can put it into practice. I think it was I messed up trying to select the right piece of equipment I wanted. Yeah, it didn't sound like she was too far off. Another little tip that I picked up from trying to go through some Steam page discussions or that is, when you are like looking down the sights of your weapon and you are moving, you actually will make less sound than if you weren't. Like, I'll show you in just a moment, given what we're in the middle of trying to do right now. But yeah, you can see in the bottom right there, as I do move, there's one little bar of volume made, but when I'm down the sights, not at all. Now, it's probably not something to operate with, like, in habit of, given if you're using, like, say, a bow. Since you have more limited amount of time, you can have it draw ready. But when it comes to using a firearm of any sort, might be a good trick. I just cannot seem to see... See, that might be her trail there. So I wonder if she just completely ignored our call and went off on her own. Because it is possible she might have just had other needs that she was more focused on. Like, there's tracks. Because I don't think she fled off. I think if she were to, we would have gotten like a bit of sound we would have heard of her going. Yeah, I'm going to speed us up a little bit. And even if she does make a warning call from this, at least I know we are, like, within a certain range of her. Well, it looks like she was in a trot, so... For whatever reason, she decided to get moving through here in a little bit of a hurry. But if we're lucky, it won't be too long before we might find some droppings left of hers. And that'll kick out our mission goal. Then we can say even if we didn't get that much game hunted and harvested, we at least were able to go through and knock out that mission we've been working at. Again, I thought we had actually knocked it out last week, but for whatever reason, we actually, I guess, just did a side mission. I thought that was it progressing. Let me just check the map quickly. She might be going towards a feed zone. I don't know if she'd be going for, like, any water, though. Because, like, straight from here, it's not really towards, like, any water I can see. I'm not really trying to spook her to go further from this, but I don't want to fall too far back since she is in a trotting pace. I'll just try to keep our ears open and... I'll keep the scope off for right now. I'll probably put that back on... probably when we get a warning call, which will give me some idea of both direction and distance. Like, oh, yeah, okay. There she is. She's already fleeing. So we were pretty close on her tail. I am a little surprised that for what we've been following, we didn't get a little bit of droppings left behind. But maybe if we go a little bit further... Oh, okay, she's coming here to rest. Yeah, but again, I'm a little surprised we haven't found any droppings from her. I'm not expecting, like, every 100 meters she has to take a crap and we'll find, but... I didn't think it would be this difficult to find the sample. I'm probably just going to be pushing her further out. But I just want to follow a little bit more and see if I can find. Because it does seem, for whatever odd reasoning... I'm not able to find any other droppings. Oh, here we go. Okay, now we got some up ahead. Yeah, I don't think we'll get... She still says she's in a trot. So she might not be too far off, but she'll probably be nervous still. But at least this should knock this mission out and we can see what the next one is. It might be finally to actually hunt and harvest a bear.
Great. I think that's enough. I'll let Tramp Fine know. Fiona was quite impressed with how you handled things, and was wondering if you'd be up for more coyote hunting. The Wildlife Varmint Control are running a reserve-wide effort to lower the coyote population. One of the perks of working with government agencies is their access to the best equipment available. Fiona loves using the 270 Huntsman rifle for varmint control.
Oh, okay, I'm surprised how much there actually is there. So it's to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh no, it's not. I only need 2 coyotes in 2 different areas. Okay. Using the 270.
Fiona will want 1 coyote harvested in each region. That coyote collar will come in handy again.
Yeah, okay, so I was trying to figure out for a moment there, like, whoa, that seemed like an awful lot to get, but if it's only like 1 coyote per region, it's not bad. But again, it's kind of the thing where it's like, coyotes... that's a little bit of a ways off, and we don't have the time for that today. But, like, at least I have that mission knocked out, so maybe we'll try doing some coyote hunting. I know it's going to... How am I doing inventory weight? I can actually check from here, so you know what? We'll fast travel to the nearest outpost, which I think might actually be this one here. 26 minutes to that one, 28 to that one. Yeah, you know what? We'll head up to this one here. I'll see about packing that 270 with us, so that way if we do come across any coyotes, we can just easily try taking them with that. But we're still going to keep all the other equipment we have on us for use, too. Ooh, but you know what? For now, I think we're at a good spot to end the episode here for today. Not a lot done, but a little bit of an example to show off, like, how much the ammo stats and such can really have an effect on the game, as well as taking things a little bit easier. Yeah, I'll just do this. So thank you all very much for joining me on this episode of The Hunter, Call of the Wild. If you did like the video, be sure to give it a like. And if you have any comments, tips, or tricks, share in the comments right down below. Until I see you all next video episode, Hunters and Survivors, please remember, as always, to take care, stay alive, and happy hunting.